You are with Tunisia Ali today with Butterfly Transformations, and we are talking about how to keep a man or how to keep your man. When you are a woman, or when you are the feminine energy, I should say, in a relationship, in any relationship, you have a distinct advantage because of the nature of the feminine energy. It's nurturing, it's supportive, it's receptive. It's a receptive nature, okay? It's a compromising nature. See yourself in the relationship sort of as Mother Earth, okay? Giving life to all things, setting the tone of the environment and the atmosphere. When you step outside of your nature, or you fail to realize the power that you have to create in your relationship, that's when you find yourself in a less than satisfactory situation. And this is something that can challenge all of us. And one of the reasons why I think it can is because we're not always mindful. We live in a world today where we're being pulled in a lot of different directions. There are lots of different distractions and options and things that take our attention off of the things that are really important. And when you're caught up in that, you also can tend to be less mindful or less present. And whenever you're less mindful and less present, it's a recipe for disaster, because everything that tends to happen in your life tends to happen on a subconscious level or an unconscious level, and you tend to be more on autopilot and not as empowered and taking charge of your life. And so this is something that can be very common, and we can move in and out of these phases in a relationship that cause us to be in a space where we feel like, okay, I have to do damage control. So this video is just going to give you some tips on some things that you need to be mindful of, or that can help you in terms of keeping a certain energy in your relationship that will allow you to keep the person close to you whom you love the most, okay, or whom you are endeared to. First and foremost is you have to embrace your feminine energy. Yeah, you have to embrace your feminine energy. You have to understand what your feminine energy actually allows you to do, and you have to embrace it and express it without reservation. See it as a gift that you have been given. You create life, you sustain life, you set the tone and energy for everything that you impact. And when you realize that you have that personal power, it is empowering. The female archetype, or the feminine divine, the feminine energy is magnificent. It's bold, it's courageous, it's smart, it's strategic, it's seductive, it's empowered. It is so many things. You have to step into the nature of who you really are. You have to embrace your ability to exercise temperance. You have to embrace your ability to exercise the flow. Exercise your ability to bring flow and harmony to a situation, your ability to nurture something back from the dead, okay? And you have to be fully present in the experience and in the relationship with a very unified intention to do that. The second thing you have to do is you have to create a happy space, which means you yourself need to be happy, and you need to be in a positive space. You have to remember that it's not somebody else's job to make you happy. It's your job to find contentment, happiness, joy, bliss, whatever it is you want to call it. That's your responsibility. And you're not able to share that with someone until you can cultivate that for yourself and from within. So you need to be happy. You need to be putting into place those kinds of practices that will help you feel better about life, that help you Express your creative zest for life that help you feel the flow of divinity coursing through your body, that give you a sense of health, vitality, feeling good. You have to take care of yourself so that you can be in a space to energize the relationship. Because when we don't feel good, when we are not well, we are in a way we're handicapped, or we are disabled from impacting our immediate environment and the greater environment. Keep in mind that your energy is what will affect the masculine energy in the relationship. And so stepping into that and then making sure that you fully have supplanted yourself there and you're anchored in that space can definitely aid the relationship. The third thing that you have to do, this is a part of using your femininity or exploiting it for, or I don't want to give that word a negative connotation, but taking advantage of your natural disposition. You want to make sure that you look good and you feel good. All right. For me personally, I feel good when I look good. All right. And then I look good because I feel good. Regardless of what I'm dealing with over the course of a lifetime, I make an effort to always make sure that I can feel good about myself, even if it's at a superficial level. Because if I can at least look pleasing, then 9 times out of 10, I'm going to feel a little bit better. But if I don't climb out of that bed, if I don't take a shower, if I don't make an effort to beautify my temple and take care of myself, I'm not going to feel good, which means I can't make anyone else feel good either, or I can't impact my immediate or my greater environment. So feeling good and taking pride in how you look, how you feel, how you smell, how you come across, all of those things are very, very important, and they are a part of the feminine energy. They're so critically important, and the masculine energy responds to that. Every man wants to be around a woman who respects herself, who takes care of herself, and who values her temple. These things are important. You want to also nurture contentment and patience with your partner. Understand that whatever the sources of tension are in the relationship, if you have someone who makes an effort to be self-aware and conscious and who actually does care about what you think, then you have someone who can be motivated to work for the betterment of the relationship. So it's a worthwhile endeavor to exercise patience. And in order to exercise patience, a lot of times we have to exercise contentment first with things the way that they are, or a need to sort of wait but still be grateful for what we have. That is really, really important. And for those of us who are impatient, this can be a real trial, but you will find as you begin to practice it more that there's a lot of reward in it. Constantly being able to remember what caused you to fall in love with that person in the first place. When you can remember what caused you to fall in love with that person in the first place, it's almost like you create a space where you live in a reality that, although it may not exist in the current moment, you're recreating it. So your whole energy changes. It's sort of like a visualization that you might create, or a mind movie, where you feel into the memory of an event or something that's important to you, or something that you want to accomplish. And in that imagining, or in that fantasizing, you actually recreate the scene, you stir up those feelings, you raise your vibration, and you begin to feel differently about a situation. That's essentially what you want to do. You want to go back to remembering those wonderful aspects of that individual that caused you to fall in love with them in the first place. And you want to identify what those things are, list them, run them over in your mind. Use those very things to help you to become grateful for what you have. Use those things to help unroot things that might have developed currently that cause you to feel like, oh, those traits, that's the reason why he, does this or he does that. Well, he was a dreamer in the beginning, and you love the fact that he was a dreamer because he was ambitious, but now he's jumping all over the place, and every time you turn around, he's doing something else. Look at how that quality maybe has evolved. Look at how that same quality, what is actually maybe motivating that quality. And remember that that is something that you loved in that person, and it's that quality that brought you close to them. And there are many ways and examples of how that same quality is playing out in other areas of your life together right now that aren't a source of tension for you. So begin to become more attuned to why it is you chose this person in the first place, and what was so special about them, and what is it that captivated you in the very beginning. And you'll find that reliving those moments and recreating those scenes in your mind will help energize you to approach the situation differently. You want to make sure that in the relationship you are doing the kinds of things that move you forward as an independent agency within the relationship. It's important that you feel fulfilled, that you continue to develop your life, and that you have a sense of forward momentum. Why? Because you have to grow and change and evolve. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to feel good. When you take care of yourself and your needs, and you nurture a life outside of the one that you share with your mate, it helps to keep you grounded in confidence. It has a positive effect on your sense of well-being. It also assists your self-esteem. It shores you up, okay? It makes you feel capable, and it gives you a sense of empowerment. And the flip side of that, which brings me to my next item, is that it helps to give you a sense of independence, and it helps you to maintain constructive things in your life, which mean or translate into the fact that you don't have to be needy and insecure. Women who are needy and insecure, or energies that are needy and insecure, they actually put up resistance, whether they realize it or not, to the inflow of love. When you're needy and secure, you actually are functioning from a place or a mindset of scarcity. All right, and you're reaching for and trying to force something your way, and which actually causes you to push away the very thing that you actually are trying to bring into your life. So what I'm basically saying is that you need to be responsible for yourself and your happiness and your sense of wholeness. That's not somebody else's job. And if you're expecting someone to do that, then you're going to be a drain on them. You will be a drain on them, and they will want to run. They will want to run away from you rather than run towards you. So that is definitely something that you want to watch. I think I've discussed some of the main items that I feel are important. The last thing that I would say is that you want to remember that everybody needs to feel validated, and everybody needs to feel appreciated, and they need to feel that they have value in your life. Ask yourself, when is the last time that I told my mate that I loved him, or that I was glad that he was in my life, or that I appreciated the way he did this or the way he did that? Ask yourself, how often do I dwell on the things that my mate doesn't do, rather than highlight the things that he does do? Keep in mind how the subconscious works, how the mind processes information. If we're processing 4 billion bits and upwards of information every second, and our mind has to curtail that information and show us what it feels is important. It's going to choose those things that it's familiar with. So if you're constantly complaining or constantly seeing your relationship as unfulfilling, then those experiences are going to be the ones that you see. Those are going to be when your brain does the filtering out of the things that it wants to show you, to bring to the forefront of your mind. Those are going to be the experiences that you're going to have, because your view has become contracted. So you're going to see more of what you actually have been seeing. Another way of looking at that is you're going to attract more of the same kinds of experiences. So you have to expand. And initially, it is something that you consciously have to make an effort to do. You have to begin to look for the good. You have to begin to look for the good things that your mate does. It has to become a conscious choice and a conscious action and a conscious effort. And as it becomes conscious, you will find that you will begin to focus on more and more positive things that your mate is doing. And as you focus on more and more positive things that your mate is doing, it's going to change your whole countenance and disposition. And then what's going to happen? What's going to happen is that's going to change your energy, and your mate is going to pick up on that, and it's going to change the entire dynamic. So just remember, when you focus on the negative, you see the negative, and then you create the negative. When you focus on the positive, then you see the positive, and then you create the positive. So that is just the critical nature of perception. And that's why we say perception is reality, because the reality is not actually in what's happening, because what's happening doesn't mean anything one way or the other. It's not good or bad. It's the interpretation that we lend to it and what that interpretation means to us that actually makes the difference. So making that person feel appreciated and valued by searching for the things that they do well and the things that make you happy is not only going to change their life, but it's going to change your life, which means it's going to change the relationship. Thank you for taking time out of your day today to spend it with me. I know that your time is valuable. It's been wonderful, and I hope that you received some measure of reward for sticking through the end. And again, you can reach me at butterflytransformations.com. I'd like for you to like the video if you found some value in it, subscribe to my channel, and or leave a comment.